Hello guys, welcome back to this video, and at this time of recording, Godot 4.6 just released. Well, not just released, but its stable version just released, and I want to go and show you guys how to make a really simple game using Godot. And without waiting any longer, let's just get right into it. So let's go here, click 2D, and we get this little nice viewport, and let's go and select 2D scene. Let's just make the game view. So right click this, rename it, set it to game, and just click Control S or Command S on Mac, and you can save it and you can write any name you want. I'm just gonna set it to game and click save. Now we have this little game scene, so let's go and add our player character. So just click this little new tab icon, and you can select this button, or you can select other node, and all you have to do is say character body 2D, but you can just click CH and it would automatically appear. So you can just click create, and the character body 2D gives us like a bunch of essential elements to build a movable player or character, or usually just any thing in your game that actually moves around and does other functions. So all we have to do now is we can rename it to player, save it, and I'm also going to keep this as player. Click save, and we can go and actually make the sprite for the player. So you can see that Godot by default gives us this little icon, and we're going to use it as the art for the game. So you can just drag it into the middle, and now we can add a collision shape. So a collision shape, so now it does not just, go through walls or something. And you can also click F to immediately go to the center, which is really useful. So just remember that. And let's go here, select empty, and let's make it a rectangle. And now you see this little icon. You can just stretch it out to make the collision box bigger or smaller. I'm just gonna make it around the size of the square. When you're done with that, all you have to do now is click the player node at the top, and you can see this little script button. Click that, and now you can create a script for your game. So let's just use the default basic movement, and then click create. And now we have this little script that basically what it does is it uses a speed variable and a jump velocity to move the player and add jumping. So we can make it so it uses our own buttons later in the video. But for now, let's just keep it how it is and click Control S to save what we've done so far. Now let's go back into 2D, and now let's add another part of our game, the floor. And let's just click this new button, the tab button again. And now, instead of making character body, it's not gonna move in the game at all. So all you have to search up is a static body 2D and click create. Now it's just a static object, so to that, we just need to add visuals. So I'm also just gonna apply onto that a icon into here, and I am gonna make it a little bit, stretched out. Boom, boom. This is a really good looking floor, and all we have to do is save. But before we save it, we need to rename this node to floor. Now, before we save it, we also want to add the collision shape so it can collide with the player. And this is also a rectangle, so we can just go and this. Since the player isn't actually gonna collide with the bottom, you don't have to make it go lower, but I'm just gonna do that anyways. So now we have the little floor. We can save it, and with that we have 2 game elements, which we can just go and put it inside of the game. So let's click the game node scene, and we can add both of them to the game. Let's start by putting the floor, and just put it all the way at the bottom of the screen. And now we can also add the player, and I'm gonna add it all the way at the top. And now we have a player and a floor. Now we can run the game, and wait, we have to select a main scene. Since this is going to be the main scene of the game, we can just select current. And now we have this little movement, I guess, where we can move the player, and then we have this little floor that we can collide on. But there are lots of problems. So let's start with the first one, and that's the controls are really bad and the movement speed. So first, let's fix the movement speed by making it a little bit faster. So let's close the game, go into script, and now this is all the code for the movement. You can see the speed variable, and if we change it to something higher like 350, you can notice that now the player is a bit faster. And I'm gonna set it to 400. We also have this little jump. I'm gonna also make this bigger, so I'm gonna change it to negative 500. First, let me go see this. That's pretty good. So now what we want to do is we want to actually change the controls. So now what Godot uses is it uses the default, the space keys and the left and right arrow keys, but we want to use WASD or just WAD because we don't go down. So to do that, we want to click Project Settings, click Input Map, and you don't see anything because those input maps are not what we see. But if we go and show all the built-in ones, now we can see that it is space, enter, and enter. So that means that instead of jumping, you can also just click enter, which is really weird. So let's go back inside of the input map and let's add an event. Let's call it right. And let's click add. Now we can add keys to it. So I'm gonna select D. And we can also add the right arrow key. Now we can do the same for left. A, and then we can add the left arrow key. And now for the jump, we can just say jump. And I'm actually gonna do 3 this time. I'm gonna use W, up arrow, and space. So now that we have all the keys that you want to use, all you just have to click close, and we can start by inside of the jump condition. So it says if input.isAction just pressed UI accept, instead of using that, we can use our own action. So remove that and type in jump. It should appear right here. And now when we play the game, we can jump with W, we can jump with the up arrow key, and we can also jump with the space bar, which is really nice. So let's now change the left key. So over here, we change the left here to left. And we can also change the right one to right. So now that the movement is better, now we can actually play the game with one hand. And there are still some problems with this. I feel like the player is, let's just say, the camera is not where the player should be. And I feel like that should make more sense. So let's go back inside 2D, inside the player, let's add a camera onto it. So search up camera 2D. And now we have this camera. Now we have to scroll out a bit. And now you can add a bunch of stuff. Like you can also add position smoothing. Or you can just leave this unchecked. But I'm just gonna go and not uncheck it. And we have this little camera. So now when we play the game, you can see that now the player actually has this little camera on it. So first let's actually go inside of our game, and now that we have that, I'm actually gonna go and move the floor a little bit lower so we have a higher jump. And yeah, we have this. But one last detail we need to add to the game is a background, because right now it's just the empty gray. So all we have to do here is we select game, we do this, and then we can search up inside a color rectangle. And then we get this. Now I'm actually not gonna do it in this sprite, and I'm gonna go inside of the player sprite and put it under the camera 2D. So you select it and then add the color rect. Now, also you want to go inside the ordering and set it to -1. So it's behind everything. And start here and make it take up the entire camera. Alright? Now when we play the game, we have a camera and it looks like the entire game has this little white background. But in reality, the camera is just covered with the white background, so that's what we see. And that's also why we set it to a really low Z index, so it goes behind everything. So let's change this color. I'm gonna set it to a blue. And now that we have that, we have this little playable game. You don't do much, but it definitely is something. So, bye guys, and hope you have a nice day.